My message to the audience is that nature is so beautiful, so fragile,
and so easily disturbed. Ice is breaking off from the ice sheets in Greenland, glaciers are calving, and scientists are telling us that the climate is changing. Part of my mission is to make these pieces, bring them into the gallery space, and provide an inspiration for people to reflect on how they are affecting the environment and what they can possibly do about it. I was invited by the curator at Wave Hill, Jennifer McGregor, to do a piece based on Palisades, which are a group of huge rocks across the Hudson River. The reason she was interested in my work is because I've been making pieces relating to the environment for the past 10 years. My intention for most of my work has been to bring the outside inside. And so, walking along the Palisades and feeling very excited about looking at these beautiful rock formations, looking up high, one would not normally be able to physically confront the top of these cliffs unless you were a really good mountain climber. And so making a piece which is larger than human scale, but nevertheless still fits into a gallery space, will allow the viewer to have a physical as well as a visual experience of something which I found quite overwhelmingly beautiful.
One of the really, I think, exciting things about working in clay is that there is a combination of things. There is the chemistry, and there is the construction, and there is the idea and the design, and then there's glazing and firing. So there's a lot of different aspects of it, which I think appeals to certain kinds of personalities, and not everybody likes it. I know artists who say they can't stand to touch clay.
I started out as a potter, learning how to throw on the wheel, make pottery, make functional ware, and I learned all of the various glazing techniques and so forth. At some point, I gave up the notion of being a potter, and as I started to do these things that were a response to the landscape, I began to think of myself more as a sculptor. And I think one of the things that gives you that permission is when you give up function. And for a potter, function is critical. For a sculptor, the ideas become more important than any kind of function. I'm working big with a material that really doesn't want to be big for the most part. Most people, if you're working with porcelain, you're making very small objects, and I did that for a very long time. Oh, good, it fits. We'll check and see here. That's going to work. So this is the end right here, and that piece is probably like here. I always thought that the material would be prohibitive. I saw some really amazing fireplace surrounds, and they were made out of tiles, hundreds of tiles. And so it occurred to me that when you use lots and lots of small parts, you make something very big. Think of a brick house. A brick house is made of many bricks that are all made out of clay. This piece for Wave Hill is a culmination of, I believe, of a lot of the work that I've been doing for the past couple of years. It's the most ambitious piece that I've done. The only comparable piece would be White Butte, which was 8 feet by 10 feet. But this one is even more complicated than that because of all the different ways the sections have to fit together. And the inclusion of texture on the surfaces, I think, is different from anything I've done before, especially at this scale. I guess the big difference between ceramics and many other materials is the firing. In order for the clay to become hard and vitreous, you've got to put it through the fire. Most people who work with ceramics love fire. They are little pyromaniacs running around. Fire is really beautiful, especially when it's contained and you can control it. So when I get done with this piece, it will be my response to something, and it will be very personal. There it is. made by me since March. A lot of slabs of clay.